Was a company giving you work and then all of a sudden it seems like the work stopped and you are questioning it and you don't know exactly what's going on and you're worried that maybe there's something either going on internally or something probably happened on your end and you want to know exactly what happened? Well, that's what we're going to discuss today because I received a comment and I feel like it needs to be highlighted so that those of you who are pretty much concerned with the same thing can probably get an idea of what could be possibly going on. And I'm going to do the best I can to help you guys out. So the question is from Karen Edge Z3I. And thank you so much for your comment. Thank you, thank you, thank you. The question is, I went on a 3-day vacation and was an excellent rating with one of the services. I've been back for a week and now I'm getting nothing. This morning, I sent an email to let them know that I am back to serve. Is this the way they do business? All right, so let's discuss that just a little bit because I think that there could be a couple of different things that are at play right now in your situation. Now, I do have a question for you though because I don't actually know what's going on. So my first question is, when you contacted them to let them know that you were back and ready to serve, did that mean that you let them know that you were going on vacation? And the reason why I'm asking is because whenever I go out of town or whatever I'm doing, I don't never let a company know I'm going anywhere because I'm setting schedules. And that's what my question is. Is it because you're doing drive-ups and they're just constantly giving you work? Because I do know, and for those of you who don't know, most of the time when the company gives you work and it's drive-ups, those drive-up inspections, they have a turnaround time. These turnaround times is normally anywhere from 5 to 7 day turnaround. What that means is that they're expecting you to have went by the location, did what you need to do, and upload what you need to upload. And it's a certain amount of time frame. You don't have 2-3 weeks out and stuff like that. Now, if you're doing some sort of inspection where you're setting appointments, most of the time when you set an appointment, you have to set an appointment based off of you, and you set the appointment based off of the insured. Suppose they're out of town. Suppose they're working, and the only time they can see you is a week out from now. Things like that. That changes all of those dynamics because you are actually setting schedules. All right, so now back to the question at hand. Do they do business this way? Well, the answer to that would be yes, over the holidays, because I know that whenever there's a holiday season, for me, okay, so I'm just going to speak for me because I know somebody probably try to beat me up in the comment section and say they don't have that problem. Okay. When I was working 6 and 7 companies at a time, during that time, I never really had to worry about that too much as far as when the holidays come around. And that is because I had work coming from different angles. But when I decided to stop working myself like that, and I know there's more to life than that, and there are things that happened in my life that made me change my whole thinking of how I operate every day in this lovely, lovely life that God has blessed me with. So, with that being said, now, whenever the holidays come around, I do feel that. I feel just what you're feeling now. So if you went out of town, you were gone for a week and you're back, and this week there's no work coming in, it could be because of the 4th of July holiday. Please do not think that these companies are only, if whoever's working in the office area, that's the only thing you have to concern yourself with, because after the 4th, and especially since the 4th was over the weekend, that you won't have any issues. It does not work like that, especially here where I am. People go on vacation for 2-3 weeks. I promise on everything. Seems like for every holiday, everything slows down. It is just the name of the game. And I must say, now, if you're doing any sort of entrepreneur work, there's going to be slowdowns no matter what. It doesn't even matter what's going on. There's going to be times when the weather's going to slow you down. It's going to be times when the clients that you probably tried to contact or people who have set appointments with you or asked you to come to their home or to their business to do a service for them. They call and they cancel or things like that. Stuff happens. When those things happen, the only thing you can do is just knock it off, count it, as a loss. There's a loss. Let's just keep going. It's all a part of the entrepreneur game, no matter what it is. Now, as far as the insurance is concerned, these insurance carriers, well, not carriers, these contract companies, everything that happens goes through a process. So I'm going to give you like an example, and hopefully you can kind of get what I'm saying. All right, so let's suppose you have worked at a warehouse somewhere, right? So in the warehouse, how this works is there's a receiving dock. And on the receiving dock, the trailers pull up to the receiving dock. Once the trailers are there are people there who unload the trailers. Most of the time, products go on a pallet or whatever it may be. And then either that same person or someone else comes, picks up the pallets, take the pallets to the lines where the people are going to be working, right? And there's a process. There's a process of unpacking the pallet. There's a process of putting the products on the lines. And once the products get put on the assembly lines, I'm talking about assembly lines, okay? Once the products get put on the assembly lines, then there's someone who does one thing to the product, and then it goes down a little bit. Somebody does something else on down the line to the product, and then it keeps going and it keeps going until it gets to the end and the product is finished. Then it goes back on a repeat process, wrapping it back up and going back out on another end of the actual warehouse. Insurance and all of this process that's going on inside of these companies work the same way. And I'm going somewhere with this. So please hang around so you can get what I'm saying. All right. So inside of these companies, there's a process that goes pretty much the same way. When a person signs up for some sort of insurance, whether it is for a home or for some sort of commercial building, it doesn't matter. Whenever they sign up for insurance coverage, most of the time they will be met with a broker. There's going to be a broker who gives them the actual coverage. So the insured may think that the agency is who their insurance is through, but in actuality, it's not. The actual insurance, the agency, they are assigning them a carrier. And I know a lot of you who've already done this work, you know what I mean. When you talking to someone about insurance ever before, and they tell you that's not my insurance carrier. My insurance carrier, that's not the name of them. And you know, some of them will be so rude, they'll hang up on you. And then you got to call them back and tell them that's your agency. Your carrier is such and such. Okay. So anyway, I'm getting off topic. When the broker tells him who the agency is, the agency assigns them a carrier. Then the carrier on the inside of that game, you have the underwriter, right, inside of the actual carrier. And then you have inside of your business, on the back side of your contract, you may have people who are overseeing everything that comes through. And they call them orders because they are orders that come through from the carrier that needs these locations to be inspected. And you have people who are assigned to provide you with an inspection. They assign us the different inspections that we need to go out and do. And then you got QC, you got the whole 9 yards, just like any other process. Over the holiday, we have several people who go on vacation. We have the insurance, they go on vacation, and they stay on vacation around here. That we have the underwriters who go on vacation. There are people who probably shouldn't be going on vacation who are not contracts and work in the business, and now they're low on workers. And I know this to be a fact because I have called a time or two throughout my process of being a field inspector when I first started, and I had to get it in my head that this is just the way it is. Just as if you was to go to work anywhere else after the holiday or before the holiday, and you say, I'm gonna do right. I'm not taking all these days off, so I'm gonna go to work. And then when you get there, Half of the people who should be there just right along with you are not there. But all of this work got to be done. Now you stuck with all of this work. So in your mind, you like, I knew I should have just went on ahead and took off too. That's how it is sometimes on the backside of your contract company. So you got one or two people who may be actually doing all of the workload. But then, of course, a lot of times it's just the underwriter. If it's not the underwriter, sometimes the orders just may not come through for your contract company because all of the people who they're trying to make sure is insured and everything is right at their homes and their locations, their commercial buildings or whatever, these people are on vacation. And I know this to be a fact, and they stay on vacation, okay? And I'm going to give you an example. I have right now in my possession 4 different files, okay? And these files I have had since the 1st of July. And these people will not be back until the 14th, the 17th. 2 of them on the 17th said the 17th, and the one said the 20th. And then the day I get another one, and I contact this guy, and he's out of the country for the holiday. They call it holiday season. To us, it's just a holiday. But he won't be back until the end of the month, going into August. So now I have 5 files that I can't do anything with. And all of them should, in my mind, be on next check. But they won't be because people are on vacation. People take vacation just like some people celebrate their birthdays. I don't celebrate birthdays at all, but there are some people who just celebrate these birthdays and they'll take the whole week, maybe 2 weeks. All of that will play a role in your workload, and it just is what it is. It doesn't mean that this is exactly what's happening with you, but there could be a chance that that is what's happening with you. Now, I do have a question though, and this question is for all of everyone who's watching, all right? So, when you said you contacted them to let them know that you are back and ready to serve, did you have work already? Had they given you work already and you had work in the back office in your queue, and when you got ready to go on vacation, you let them know so they had to take all of that back, give to somebody else? Because I don't know about that. But I make sure, y'all know what I'm getting with that. But I don't want to say the wrong thing because it may not be so. And I only like to speak truth when it comes to this. But if you had a whole lot of work in the back and they took it to give it to somebody else because you're now going out of town, that could be a problem. But it could not be. So don't quote me on it, because I don't know for sure. All I know is that whenever I get ready to do anything, and it doesn't matter what it is, I make sure, okay? I make sure that there's no work that was already there for me to do. If there's work there for me to do, and it is not scheduled out past the time that I'm coming back, I make sure I get that work done. Because at the end of the day, you got to look at it. I know you said, is that how they do this business? I get what you're saying. But look at it from the other side of things. If you needed something done, let's say to your car, and it is an emergency and it needs to get done, and you need it done within the next week or so, okay? And right now you're in a rental, you can't afford to keep riding a rental, you need your car fixed. And the shop says, sure, bring the car. And then you bring the car and they tell you it'll be ready within the next 3 days. You're like, good, that's quicker than I thought it was going to be. So now you're happy. You think the work is getting done. You sent your car somewhere to people you trust, right? But then the workers decide they're not going to come to work. So the worker decide they're not going to come to work, and you call on that third day, and nobody's answering the phone, so you use your rental and go to the shop. I'm using these examples now because I've been through stuff like this. You go to the shop, and not only are they not finished with your car, but don't look like nobody even touched your car. Okay. So now you are so upset because now that's going to add another possible 3, maybe 4 days on top. Don't let it be rolling into the weekend. So now you got to keep this rental. And if this is the first time you've used this shop, what are the chances of you going back to that shop? You're not going to go back too quick. You're not going back to them and have these people work on your car because you know you can't trust you're going to get it back. So if an insurance company has given you plenty of work and you did not, well, not the insurance company, a contract company gave you plenty of work and they had to take it from you because you decided to go out of town without completing what was already in your queue, that could be a problem. But like I said before, don't quote me on it because I don't know for sure. Okay. All I know is that the holiday seasons, what they call it, will affect everybody. And the only people who are not affected are those who are working with several different companies at a time. So they may be affected, but it don't bother them that much because they have checks coming in from every different angle. But if you're working 1 or 2 companies, you're going to really feel that. I feel it every single time. And it is what it is. Use that time. Take a walk. Take a stroll. Release yourself, Get grounded with the earth. Do things that's going to make you happy. Things that make you feel good about yourself. Use that time as a positive time to just become one with who you are as a person. And wait on them to give you work. Because if what I'm saying is true, as far as the holiday of the 4th of July, then there is a good possibility that within the next few days, the workload will start to pick up for you. Because like I said, the underwriters and all these people, they go out of town. So if you wrote them, maybe you may want to consider, just to ease your mind, to write them again. This time, say something like, I was just wondering, is there a reason why the work is a little slow? Please let me know. All right? And if nobody responds to you by end of day, or depending on what time it is in your area, by Monday, then that may be the way your company do business. I don't know. But I hope I was able to help you and anybody else who was actually wondering. You guys know what to do. Like, subscribe, turn on notification bell. I'll be bringing you back something later. Thank you guys so much for watching. Enjoy the rest of your day.